Ethan Thorne thought he'd finally broken her when he threw his pregnant wife into a freezing rainstorm to replace her with a manipulative mistress. But 10 months later, his victory turned into his greatest nightmare. He invited Amara to his Christmas gala to humiliate her. But the second the doors swung open, the billionaire's heart stopped. Amara wasn't alone, and the newborn in her arms didn't just have his eyes. It held the secret evidence of the mistress's deadly frame-up. As the champagne glasses shattered and the room went deathly silent, Ethan realized that while he was busy flaunting his wealth, his disposable wife was raising the hair he never knew existed. And she wasn't there for a second chance. She was there to bury him. Welcome to Mr. James' family, where we bring you the most heart-wrenching stories of betrayal and justice. You won't believe how Amara exposes the mistress's lies in front of everyone. Trust me, the ending will leave you in tears. So, if you believe that every mother deserves respect, hit that subscribe button right now and join our family. Don't move an inch, because this story is about to get shockingly real. The envelope arrived on a Tuesday morning. Amara sat in the small apartment she'd been renting for the past 9 months, feeding her son his bottle. The paper was cream-colored, expensive. She recognized the Thorne family seal immediately. Her hands trembled as she opened it. You are cordially invited to the annual Thorne Christmas Gala. X. She read it 3 times. Why would Ethan invite her? They hadn't spoken since that night. The night he'd destroyed everything. Baby Elijah stirred in her arms, his tiny fingers wrapping around her thumb. He had Ethan's dark hair, his strong jawline. Every time she looked at her son, she saw the man who'd thrown her away like garbage. The rain had been merciless that night. She'd stood outside the gates of the mansion, soaked to the bone. One hand pressed against her stomach, where their child was growing. She'd wanted to scream, to tell him the truth, but the words had frozen in her throat. Now, holding this invitation, she understood. This wasn't about reconciliation. This was about humiliation. Her neighbor, Mrs. Chen, knocked on the door. The elderly woman had become her only friend in this new life. You look troubled, dear. Amara showed her the invitation. Mrs. Chen's face hardened. Don't go. Men like that, they only want to hurt you more. But Amara's mind was already working. For 9 months, she'd been silent. She'd built a life from nothing, working night shifts at the hospital while pregnant, saving every penny. She'd given birth alone, with only a kind nurse holding her hand. Ethan didn't deserve to know his son, but maybe he deserved to see what he'd lost. I'm going, she said quietly. Mrs. Chen sighed. Then go with your head high. Show him you survived. That night, after Elijah fell asleep, Amara stood in front of the mirror. The woman staring back at her was different from the one Ethan had married. Her eyes held something new, something sharp and unbreakable. She thought about the girl she'd been. Shy. Desperate to please. She'd met Ethan at a charity function, where she'd been volunteering. He'd been drawn to her kindness, or so she'd thought. The wedding had been grand, but their marriage had been cold. Ethan had never loved her. She knew that now. She'd been a trophy. A gentle, obedient wife who never questioned him, never challenged him. The perfect accessory for a man who wanted to appear noble while his heart remained stone. Chloe had entered their lives 8 months into the marriage. Beautiful, sophisticated, everything Amara wasn't. Ethan had claimed she was just a business associate. But Amara had seen the way he looked at her. The signs had been there all along. She picked up her phone and called the only person from her old life who'd remained loyal. "Thomas?" The old butler's voice cracked with emotion. "Mrs. Thorne, I've hoped every day you'd call. I need to know something. Is he happy?" There was a long pause. "No, ma'am. He drinks more now. Chloe is there constantly, but I see no joy in his eyes. The house feels empty." "Good." The word surprised her. She'd never been vengeful before, but motherhood had changed her. She'd fight now. For Elijah, for herself. "Thomas, I'm coming to the party. I was hoping you would. There's something you need to know. Something I've been keeping." "What is it?" "Not over the phone, but Mrs. Thorne, when you come, I'll give you the truth. The whole truth about that night." After they hung up, Amara walked to Elijah's crib. Her son slept peacefully, unaware of the storm coming. She'd tried so hard to tell Ethan about the pregnancy that night. She'd come home from the doctor's office with the ultrasound photo in her purse, her heart full of hope. Maybe a baby would soften him. Maybe it would bring them together. Instead, she'd found him in the library with Chloe. They weren't touching, but the intimacy between them was unmistakable. Then the accusations started. The watch. The voice recording. Things she'd never seen, never said. But Ethan had believed it all without question, because he'd wanted to. The next 2 weeks passed slowly. Amara planned carefully. She wouldn't wear designer clothes or try to compete with the world Ethan lived in. She would go as herself, as a mother, as a survivor. She bought a simple coat from the thrift store. It was cream-colored, modest, but it fit her perfectly. She hand-knitted a blue blanket for Elijah, working late into the nights while he slept. Mrs. Chen helped her prepare. "You're sure about this?" the older woman asked the night before the party. "No. But I'm doing it anyway." "What do you want from him?" Amara thought about that. What did she want? An apology? Money? Recognition? No, she wanted him to know. To understand what he'd destroyed. To see his son and know he'd never be a father to him. "I want him to lose sleep the way I did." The morning of the party, Amara woke up at dawn. Elijah was fussy, sensing her anxiety. She fed him, bathed him, dressed him in a simple blue onesie. She looked at the birth certificate on her desk. Under, father. She'd written, unknown. It had been the hardest thing she'd ever written, but also the most honest. Ethan Thorne was unknown to this child. He'd never held him, never heard his first cry, never stayed up all night worrying about every breath. He was a stranger. As she prepared to leave, her phone rang. "Hello. Amara." The voice made her blood run cold. "Chloe. How did you get this number?" "I have my ways. I know about the invitation. Don't come. You'll only embarrass yourself." Amara's grip tightened on the phone. "Is that a threat?" "It's advice. Ethan has moved on. He's happy. You're just a ghost from a past he'd rather forget. Come if you want, but you'll leave more broken than you arrived." The line went dead. Amara stood there, shaking. Not from fear, from rage. She picked up Elijah, grabbed her coat, and headed for the door. Mrs. Chen was waiting outside. "Remember who you are now, not who you were." Amara nodded. The drive to the Thorne estate took 40 minutes. With each mile, memories flooded back. The first time Ethan had brought her here, she'd been overwhelmed by the grandeur. Now it just looked empty. The gates were open, decorated with golden lights and white ribbons. Christmas music drifted from inside. Expensive cars lined the driveway. Amara parked her beat-up Honda at the end of the row. It looked pathetic next to the Bentleys and Rolls-Royces. She checked her reflection one last time. No makeup. Hair pulled back simply. She looked tired because she was tired. Elijah was awake now, his blue eyes wide and curious. "Ready to meet your father," she whispered. The baby cooed softly. She stepped out of the car into the cold December air. Snow had started to fall. Light and gentle. The mansion loomed ahead, every window blazing with light and warmth. She could turn back now. Go home. Forget this. But then she remembered that night. The rain, the pain. The loneliness of giving birth without anyone who loved her. She remembered Ethan's words. "You are nothing but a gold digger hiding behind a shy face." She'd believed him for a while. Wondered if maybe she had been using him. But no. She'd loved him genuinely, foolishly. She'd asked for nothing except his kindness. And he'd given her cruelty instead. Amara walked toward the entrance, her son in her arms. A valet tried to take her coat. She shook her head. The doors opened. Inside was a world she'd once belonged to. Crystal chandeliers. A string quartet playing in the corner. Women in gowns that cost more than most people's yearly salary. Men in tuxedos, laughing too loud, drinking too much. And there, at the center of it all, standing on the grand staircase, like a king surveying his kingdom, was Ethan Thorne. He looked the same. Sharp suit, cold eyes. Chloe was draped on his arm like jewelry, wearing a dress that shimmered gold. Ethan was speaking, his voice carrying across the room. "Some people are like anchors. They pull you down." The crowd laughed politely. "I invited my ex-wife tonight so she could see what a real queen looks like." He looked toward the door, expecting to see a broken woman. Instead, he saw Amara. Their eyes met across the room. Everything stopped. Time fractured into pieces. Ethan's champagne glass paused halfway to his lips. The smile melted from his face like wax near flame. Amara stepped forward. One foot, then another. The crowd parted without realizing they were moving. She kept her eyes locked on his. No fear, no tears. Just steady, burning calm. Chloe's perfectly manicured nails dug into Ethan's arm. "Ooh, let her in," she hissed. But Ethan couldn't speak. His throat had closed, because in Amara's arms, wrapped in a simple blue blanket, was a baby. The guests began to whisper. The sound grew like wind before a storm. Amara walked through the center of the ballroom. Her shoes were worn. Her coat was secondhand. But she moved like royalty, chin high, shoulders back. She stopped 10 feet from the staircase. Ethan descended slowly, each step heavy. Chloe tried to follow, but he shook her off without looking. His eyes were fixed on the bundle in Amara's arms. "What is this?" His voice came out rougher than he intended. Amara shifted the baby slightly. Elijah was awake now, staring at the lights above with wide, curious eyes. "This," she said quietly, "is consequence." The room held its breath. Ethan moved closer. Against his will, his eyes dropped to the child. The baby turned his head, and Ethan saw it. The dark hair, the shape of the nose, the exact shade of blue in those tiny eyes that he saw every morning in the mirror. His heart stopped. "Knew." The word escaped before he could catch it. "Yes." Ethan's mind raced backward. 10 months ago, that night. The rain. Amara had been trying to tell him something. He remembered now. She'd kept reaching for him, her lips forming words he wouldn't hear. "You're lying." But his voice shook. "You're with someone else. You left me for another man." Amara's laugh was sharp and bitter, a sound he'd never heard from her before. "I left. You threw me out, Ethan. In the middle of a storm. Do you even remember?" He did. God help him, he did. He remembered her standing at the gates, drenched, one hand pressed to her stomach. He'd thought she looked ill. Weak. Now he understood. "If this is my child, why didn't you tell me?" The guests pressed closer, not even pretending to give them privacy anymore. This was better than any scripted drama. Real pain, real chaos, happening right in front of them. Amara reached into her coat pocket with her free hand. She pulled out a wrinkled piece of paper, protected in a plastic sleeve. She held it up. "This is the ultrasound from that day. October 3rd. The day you decided I was a thief and a liar without letting me speak." Ethan took the paper with shaking hands. The date was there, clear, undeniable, 10 months ago. And there, a tiny shape, his son, growing inside the woman he'd destroyed. "I tried to tell you." Amara's voice cracked for the first time. "I came home from the doctor so happy, so scared. I thought maybe this would change things between us. Maybe you'd finally see me." "Amara." He reached for her. She stepped back. "Don't. You don't get to touch me anymore. You lost that right when you chose to believe her over me." She pointed at Chloe, who stood frozen on the staircase, her face pale beneath expensive makeup. Ethan turned. Something in his chest twisted. He'd trusted Chloe. She'd been the one who found the watch. Who'd played him the recording? Who'd held him while he raged about betrayal? "Tell him," Amara said, her voice gaining strength. "Tell him what you did." Chloe's eyes darted around the room, looking for escape. "I don't know what she's talking about. She's clearly unstable, Ethan. Showing up here with some random baby, making wild accusations." "Random." Amara's voice rose. "Look at him. Everyone in this room can see it. He's a thorn." The guests murmured agreement. The resemblance was impossible to deny. Ethan stared at his son. The baby's eyes found his face and held it. Something ancient and primal stirred in Ethan's chest. Protection, recognition, love. The feeling terrified him. He'd spent his whole life building walls. His father had taught him that emotions were weakness. Business was everything. People were assets or liabilities. Amara had been an asset once. Good for his image. Charitable, kind, the perfect counterbalance to his ruthless reputation. But somewhere along the way, she'd become something else. Something that made him uncomfortable. She'd looked at him with actual love. Expected real intimacy, wanted to know his fears and dreams. So he'd pushed her away. Kept her at arm's length. And when Chloe offered him an easy escape, he'd taken it. Now his son was staring at him like a mirror to a future he'd thrown away. "How did you survive?" The question came out broken. Amara's eyes hardened again. "You don't get to know that. You don't get to know anything about us." Was. The word hit him like a fist. That didn't include him. "I worked night shifts at the hospital. Pregnant, alone, terrified. I gave birth with strangers around me because you made sure I had no one." Each word was a knife. "I didn't know," Ethan whispered. "You didn't ask. You didn't care. You wanted me gone. So you made me gone." The old butler, Thomas, appeared from the edge of the crowd. Ethan had forgotten he was even there. The man who'd served the Thorne family for 40 years walked forward slowly, his face grave. "Mr. Thorne, there's something you need to see." Ethan turned. "Not now, Thomas." "Yes, now." The old man's voice held unusual steel. "I've been quiet for too long. I won't be quiet anymore." He pulled a small tablet from his jacket pocket. His hands shook as he pressed play. The screen showed the security footage from 10 months ago. The bedroom. Empty at first. Then Chloe entered, looking around nervously. She opened Amara's bedside drawer and carefully placed something inside. The diamond watch. The Thorne family heirloom. The room erupted. Ethan's vision blurred red. He spun toward Chloe. She backed up the stairs, shaking her head. "That's edited." She paid him to make it. But Thomas wasn't finished. He played another clip. Chloe in what looked like a recording studio, speaking into a microphone, imitating Amara's voice, piecing together sentences, creating the confession Ethan had heard. The truth crashed down like a building collapse. Chloe had destroyed his marriage, had manipulated him, had stolen his child's first 9 months of life. Get out. His voice was deadly quiet. Chloe tried to smile, to charm her way out. "Ethan, baby, let me explain. Jitty oat." The roar shook the chandeliers. Security appeared from nowhere. Chloe screamed as they grabbed her arms, dragged her toward the door. Her designer dress caught on the banister, tearing. "You'll regret this. You're nothing without me. Not I." The doors slammed shut behind her. Silence filled the space she'd left. Ethan turned back to Amara. His face was different now, broken open. Raw. "I'm sorry, God. Amara, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I should have listened. I should have trusted you." Amara stood perfectly still. The baby had fallen asleep against her chest, exhausted by the noise and lights. "You should have loved me." The words were simple, devastating. "I do." She shook her head slowly. "Numb? You love the idea of me. The quiet, grateful girl who made you look good. But you never knew me, never wanted to. Let me try now. Please. Let me meet my son. Let me fix this." For a moment, Ethan saw something flicker in her eyes. Hope maybe, or memory of old feelings. But then it died. "His name is Elijah. Elijah Chen. Not Thorne." The guests gasped. To deny a child the family name was the ultimate rejection. "You can't do that," Ethan said. "He's my heir, my son." "No. He's mine. I carried him. I birthed him alone. I've fed him every night, changed every diaper, sung every lullaby. Where were you?" "I didn't know." "You didn't care to know. There's a difference." Amara adjusted the blanket around Elijah's sleeping face. Her hands were gentle, practiced. The hands of a mother who'd learned everything alone. "I came here tonight because I wanted you to see what you lost. I wanted you to meet your son once, so you'd spend the rest of your life knowing he exists and you can't have him. That's cruel." "So was the rain." The reference made Ethan flinch. He remembered now. Every detail. Her soaked clothes. Her shaking hands. The way she'd looked at him one last time before walking away. "I'll fight you," he said. "For custody. I have resources." "Fight then, but you'll lose, because I have something you'll never have." "What?" "His love." The truth of it settled like ash. Elijah didn't know Ethan existed. Would never call him daddy. Would never run to him for comfort or look at him with trust. Ethan had money, power, influence. But his son would grow up knowing none of it. Would learn to tie his shoes, ride a bike, face his fears without Ethan there. Please. He hated the begging in his voice. "Don't take him from me." "I'm not taking him from you. You threw him away before he was even born." Amara turned toward the door. Ethan grabbed her arm without thinking. She froze, looked down at his hand, then up at his face. "Let go." Something in her voice made him obey immediately. She walked away. Past the shocked guests. Past the lavish decorations. Past the life she'd once been part of. Ethan stood in the center of his mansion, surrounded by luxury and emptiness, watching the only real thing he'd ever had disappear into the snow. Thomas approached quietly. "Sir, I should have shown you that footage months ago. I was afraid. I'm sorry." Ethan couldn't speak. His throat was full of broken glass. "If it helps, she never badmouthed you. Even when I visited her at the hospital, when she was working herself to exhaustion, she never said a cruel word about you." That made it worse somehow. The guests began to leave, whispering, already spreading the story. By morning, all of New York would know. The ruthless Ethan Thorne had a son he'd thrown away. His reputation would never recover. Good. He deserved worse. Ethan walked to the window and watched Amara's old car pull away. Inside his chest, something he'd thought was dead began to wake up. It felt like pain. Like regret. Like love, too late. Ethan didn't sleep that night. He sat in his study, the ultrasound photo on the desk in front of him. October 3rd. The date branded itself into his brain. He'd been in Tokyo that day. A merger. Billions at stake. He'd closed the deal and celebrated with expensive scotch, while Amara sat in a doctor's office, alone, staring at a screen showing their son's heartbeat. The door opened. Thomas entered with coffee Ethan wouldn't drink. "The guests are gone, sir. The staff has cleaned up." Ethan didn't respond. He was looking at his phone, at the birth certificate Amara had photographed and left on the hall table before she left. A parting gift, or a final wound. Elijah Chen, born April 15th, father unknown, unknown. He'd built an empire. His name was on buildings across 3 continents. But to his own son, he was nobody. "Thomas, tell me about her. The months after she left." The old butler sat down slowly, something he never did in Ethan's presence. It spoke to how broken they both were. She lived in a shelter for the first 2 weeks. Then she found that apartment in Brooklyn. Worked at Mount Sinai Hospital, cleaning rooms, doing laundry. Night shifts because they paid more. Ethan's hands curled into fists. She was 7 months pregnant when I first visited her. I'd tracked her down, worried. She was so thin, sir. Exhausted, but she smiled when she saw me. Asked about the house, about you. Stop. No, sir. You need to hear this. She went into labor early. Alone in that apartment. Mrs. Chen called the ambulance. 19 hours of labor. No family, no husband. Just nurses who pitied her. Ethan stood abruptly, knocking his chair backward. I said stop. Thomas stood too, his old eyes blazing. "You need to know what your pride cost. She almost died, Mr. Thorne. The baby was breech. They had to do an emergency procedure. She was terrified and alone and calling your name. The words hit like bullets. She called for me. Even after everything, even in her worst moment, she wanted you there." Ethan's legs gave out. He sat on the floor, his back against the mahogany desk that cost more than most people's cars. "What have I done?" Thomas knelt beside him, something his arthritis probably screamed against. "What men like your father taught you to do. Protect yourself first. Trust no one. Show no weakness. My father was wrong." "Yes, sir, he was." They sat there together, master and servant, both mourning different things. Outside, dawn was breaking. Christmas morning. Somewhere in Brooklyn, Amara was probably awake already, feeding Elijah. The thought of that domestic scene, that intimacy he'd never share, carved him hollow. His phone buzzed. A message from his lawyer. I saw the news. We need to talk about damage control. Damage control. As if his son was a PR problem. Ethan threw the phone across the room. It shattered against the wall. I need to see them again. Thomas shook his head. She won't let you near that boy. Not after tonight. Then I'll make her. I'll use every resource I have. She can't keep my son from me. You'll only prove her right about you. The truth of it stung. What do I do then? Just accept it. Never know my own child. If you can.
How?
Thomas stood with difficulty. That's not for me to say. But I know this. The Ethan Thorne who throws money at problems won't win her back. You need to become someone different. Someone worthy of that boy. After Thomas left, Ethan pulled out his laptop. He searched for Amara's address, found it easily. The apartment building looked run, down in the Google Street View. Graffiti on the walls, broken security gate. His son was living there, in that place. While Ethan sat in a mansion with 12 bedrooms, the rage he felt wasn't at Amara. It was at himself. He made a decision. 3 days later, Amara was walking home from the grocery store, Elijah strapped to her chest, when a black SUV pulled up beside her. Her heart jumped. She walked faster. The window rolled down. Ethan sat in the back seat, looking like he hadn't slept in days. Please, just talk to me. Go away. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. You're asking for more than you gave me that night. The car crawled along beside her as she walked. I know what I did. I know I can't undo it. But he deserves better than this. Amara stopped. Turned. Her eyes were fire. Better than what? A mother who loves him. A home that's small but safe. Don't you dare. I meant better than one parent. He deserves both of us. He has me. That's enough. Isaac, can you give him everything alone? Education, opportunities, security. I'm giving him something you never could. Real love. Ethan flinched but pressed on. I've set up an account. For him. Enough to move somewhere better. To stop working those night shifts. Amara laughed, harsh and sharp. You think this is about money? You think you can buy your way into being a father? No. I think my son should be living in a building with broken locks and drug dealers on the corner. She moved so fast he barely saw it coming. Her hand cracked across his face. The driver started to react. But Ethan held up a hand. I deserve that. You deserve worse. Amara adjusted Elijah, who'd started to fuss. Automatically, she swayed, soothing him. The practiced motion of a mother, who'd done this 1,000 times alone. Don't follow me again. Don't send money. Don't contact me. You wanted me gone. You got your wish. I was wrong. Yes, you were. But being wrong doesn't give you a second chance. She walked away. This time, the SUV didn't follow. Inside, Ethan sat in silence. His cheek still stung, but the pain felt right, deserved. Where to? Sir, the driver asked. The office. Work had always been his escape. But when he got there, sitting in his corner office overlooking the city, he couldn't focus. Every document reminded him of what he'd lost. His assistant knocked. Thorne. There's someone here to see you. She doesn't have an appointment, but she says it's urgent. Tell them I'm busy. Sir, she says her name is Mrs. Chen. Ethan looked up. Send her in. The elderly woman who entered was small, grey-haired, with eyes that missed nothing. She didn't wait for permission to sit. "You're the man who hurt my girl." "Yes." "Good. At least you don't lie about it." Mrs. Chen studied him like a specimen under glass. "I came to tell you something. Not because you deserve to know, but because that baby deserves a chance at a full life." Ethan leaned forward. "Amara is proud. Too proud sometimes. She's been doing everything alone because she thinks she has to. Because you made her believe she wasn't worth fighting for. I know. I'm trying to fix it. By throwing money at her. By showing up in your fancy car. That's not fixing anything. That's you still being the same man who threw her away." The words landed like hammers. "Tell me what to do then." Mrs. Chen smiled, but it wasn't kind. "You want to be in that boy's life. You earn it. Not with money. With time. With change. Show up every day. Help. Don't demand. Don't control. Just be there, and maybe, after months or years, she'll trust you enough to let you hold your son." Months. Years. You threw away 9 months already. What's a few more? She stood to leave. Mrs. Chen. "Wait, how is she? Really?" The old woman paused at the door. "Scared. Stronger than you ever gave her credit for. She wakes up 3 times a night to feed him. Works from home now, doing medical billing. Makes enough to get by. She sings to him every morning. Old songs her grandmother taught her. Each detail was a gift and a punishment. And she never talks about me. She doesn't need to. I see it in her eyes sometimes. When Elijah does something that reminds her of you. The grief is still fresh. After she left, Ethan made another decision. He called his lawyer. Draw up papers. I want to set up a trust for Amara and Elijah. Anonymous. She can't know it's from me. Sir, if you want custody. Not yet. Not until I deserve it. Sir, just do it. And then I need you to find someone, a contractor. I want that building where she lives renovated. Security improved, but quietly. She can't know I'm involved. This is highly irregular. I don't care. Over the next 2 weeks, Ethan became a ghost in his own son's life. He paid for repairs to Amara's building, through shell companies. He ensured the hospital, where she worked from home, got a massive anonymous donation that came with raises for their billing staff. He drove by her apartment, sometimes late at night, and watched the lights in her window, trying to imagine the life happening inside. Thomas kept him updated. She got the raise. She cried when they told her. Good. The building manager is confused about the renovations but grateful. Good. Sir, this is costing you. I don't care what it costs. But Ethan knew money wasn't enough. Mrs. Chen was right. He needed to change who he was. The problem was, he didn't know how. He'd been raised by a father who showed love through bank statements, who measured worth in quarterly reports, who'd taught him that vulnerability was failure. How did you undo 35 years of that programming? On New Year's Eve, Ethan sat alone in his mansion while fireworks exploded over the city. He thought about last year. Amara had been here. They'd watched from the balcony together, not touching, barely speaking. He'd been texting Clue the whole time. The memory made him sick. His phone rang. Unknown number. Hello. It's me. Amara's voice was quiet. His heart stopped. Are you okay? Is Elijah? We're fine. I needed to ask you something. Why are you doing this? She knew. Somehow she'd figured it out. Doing what? The building repairs. The raise. Don't lie to me, Ethan. I'm not stupid. He was quiet for a long moment. Because you were right. Money can't buy back what I lost. But it can make sure my son is safe. That his mother doesn't have to work herself to death. I don't want your guilt melt. It's responsibility. It's the least I can do. Silence on the line. Then, he smiled today. For the first time, a real smile. Ethan's throat closed. I wish I could have seen it. I know. More silence. Amara, I'm not asking for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it. But please let me help. Even if it's from a distance. Even if you never let me near him. Just let me do this. He heard her breathe out slowly. Okay. Okay. But Ethan, this doesn't change anything between us. You're still a stranger to him. To me now, too. I understand. She hung up. Ethan sat in the darkness, holding his phone like a lifeline. It wasn't much, but it was something. A small crack in the wall she'd built. Outside, the city celebrated a new year. New beginnings. For the first time in months, Ethan felt something that might have been hope. February brought freezing rain to New York. Amara stood at her apartment window, watching ice coat the streets below. Elijah was asleep in his crib finally. He'd been fussy all week, fighting a cold that terrified her every time his tiny chest struggled for breath. She'd taken him to the clinic 3 times. Each visit cost money she didn't have, even with the raise. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Thomas gave me this number. Please don't be angry with him. I heard Elijah is sick. Can I help? She deleted it without responding. But 10 minutes later, another message. I'm not trying to interfere. I just want to know he's okay. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. She shouldn't respond. Every interaction was a crack in her armor. He has a cold? We're managing. The reply came instantly. Has he seen a specialist? I can arrange. No. Stop. We're fine. She turned off her phone. But the worry gnawed at her. Elijah's breathing sounded wrong. Raspy. The clinic doctor had said to watch him. Come back if it got worse. What if it got worse in the middle of the night? What if she couldn't get him help in time? A knock at the door made her jump. Through the peephole she saw a woman. Mid-40s, professional clothing, kind face. Can I help you? Ms. Chen. My name is Dr. Sarah Martinez. I'm a pediatric pulmonologist. I was asked to check on your son. Amara's blood went cold. By whom? The doctor looked uncomfortable. I was told you'd ask that. I was asked not to say. But I promise I'm here to help, not to interfere. No charge. Just a quick check to make sure the little one is breathing okay. I don't need charity. It's not charity. It's a concerned party making sure a child is healthy. Amara should have slammed the door. But Elijah chose that moment to cough a wet, struggling sound that made her stomach drop. She let the doctor in. Doctor. Martinez was professional, gentle. She examined Elijah with practiced efficiency, listening to his lungs, checking his oxygen levels. He has bronchiolitis. Common in babies his age, but it needs monitoring. I'm going to prescribe a nebulizer treatment. And I'd like to check on him again in 2 days. I can't afford. Already taken care of. By Ethan. The doctor didn't confirm or deny. Whoever arranged this cares about your son's health. That's what matters right now. After she left, Amara sat holding Elijah, torn between gratitude and fury. Ethan was inserting himself into their lives through back channels, controlling things. Exactly what she'd feared. But Elijah was breathing easier after the treatment. That mattered more than her pride. She turned her phone back on, texted Ethan. Send the doctor again if she thinks he needs it. But this doesn't mean you get to see him. His response was immediate. I know. Thank you for letting me helm. Over the next week, Dr. Martinez visited daily. She was warm, funny, never pushy. She talked to Amara like a person, not a charity case. You're doing an amazing job with him, she said on the 5th visit. Being a single mother is the hardest job in the world. Did Ethan tell you about us? Sarah hesitated. He told me enough. That he made terrible mistakes. That he's trying to make amends without overstepping. That's a generous interpretation. Isaac. He could have sued for custody. Used his money and lawyers to take Elijah from you. But he hasn't. He's just helping from the shadows. Amara hadn't thought about it that way. He threw me away like garbage. Now he wants to play the hero. Maybe he's just trying to be less of a villain. After Sarah left, Amara couldn't stop thinking about those words. The truth was Ethan had been quiet. No demands, no threats. Just anonymous help that made her life slightly less impossible. She hated that it was working, that her anger was developing cracks. The next day, Mrs. Chen knocked with news. There's a woman downstairs asking for you. Says her name is Linda Thorne. Amara's heart stopped. Ethan's mother. She hadn't seen Linda since before the wedding. The woman had made her disapproval clear. Amara wasn't from their world, wasn't sophisticated enough, wasn't white. Tell her I'm not home. I did. She said she'll wait all day if she has to. Amara looked at Elijah, sleeping peacefully after his treatment. Watch him. I'll be back. Linda Thorne sat in the building's small lobby, like a queen on a throne made of broken furniture. She wore a Chanel suit and pearls. Her grey hair was perfectly styled. Amara. You look thin. Not, how are you? Just judgment. Mrs. Thorne, what do you want? Linda stood, her movements elegant despite her age. To see my grandson. No? I'm not asking permission. You don't have rights here. Neither does your son. Linda's expression flickered. Something almost human. You're right. We don't. But that doesn't stop me from wanting to meet him. Why now? You didn't care about me when I was your son's wife. Why care about my son? Linda was quiet for a long moment. My husband was like Ethan, cold, ruthless. He raised our son to be the same. I didn't fight it. I thought that's what strength looked like. This isn't my problem. No. But Ethan told me what he did to you. Everything. And I need you to know that I'm ashamed. Of him? Of myself for creating him. The admission caught Amara off guard. Linda stepped closer. I'm not here to make excuses. I'm here because I'm a grandmother now, and I've already missed 9 months. I don't want to miss more. You want me to just forgive your family, let you all in. I want to earn the right to know that boy, however long it takes. Amara studied her. Linda's eyes were the same blue as Elijah's. As Ethan's. She saw genuine regret there. One visit. Supervised. If you upset me or push boundaries, you're gone. Linda nodded, accepting the terms. Upstairs, Mrs. Chen had Elijah awake. The baby was in a good mood, cooing at the ceiling fan. Linda froze in the doorway when she saw him. Oh! The word came out broken. He looks just like Ethan did. She didn't move forward. Didn't reach for him. Just stood there, tears streaming down her carefully made-up face. May I hold him? Amara hesitated, then nodded. Linda's hands shook as she took Elijah. She held him like he was made of glass. "Hello, sweet boy. I'm your grandmother. And I'm so sorry I wasn't there when you were born." Elijah grabbed her pearl necklace, fascinated by the shine. Linda laughed, a sound of pure joy. They sat together, an awkward triangle. Linda, Amara, and Mrs. Chen. 3 women from completely different worlds, connected by one baby. "He has your mouth," Linda said to Amara. "And your courage, I suspect." "What do you mean?" "Surviving what my son put you through. Raising this child alone. That takes more strength than Ethan was ever shown." The compliment was unexpected. "Did Ethan send you?" "God, no. He doesn't know I'm here. He'd probably try to stop me. Thinks he has to do this all himself. Prove something." "What is he trying to prove?" Linda looked at her directly. "That he's capable of change. Of being better than his father. Than me? Is he?" "I don't know yet. But he's trying. I've never seen him try before." Elijah started to fuss. Amara took him back, began the automatic, soothing rhythm. Linda watched with obvious longing. "You're a natural mother." "I didn't have a choice. It was learn or fail him." "Still, many women with every advantage fail their children. You're doing it alone with nothing, and he's thriving." The words settled something in Amara's chest. Validation she didn't know she needed. "Mrs. Thorne." "Linda." "Please." "Linda, why are you really here?" The older woman folded her hands in her lap. "Because I lost my chance to be a good mother. I was cold to Ethan, taught him to value things over people. Now I have a grandson, and I want to be better for him than I was for my son. That's not my responsibility to fix." "No, but maybe we can help each other. You need support. I need redemption." Amara wanted to say no, to protect herself and Elijah from more thorns, more complications. But she was tired, so tired of doing everything alone. "You can visit. Once a week. Here, you don't take him anywhere without me. You don't tell Ethan about these visits." "Agreed. And if you hurt me or try to manipulate me, you're done." Linda stood, gathering her purse. "Thank you. I know you don't owe me this." After she left, Mrs. Chen whistled low. That was unexpected. "Tell me I didn't just make a huge mistake." "Time will tell." But that woman looked at that baby like he was her second chance. People do desperate things for second chances. That's what worries me. That night, after Elijah was asleep, Amara's phone rang. "Ethan." She almost didn't answer. "What?" "My mother visited you." He sounded panicked. "I just found out. I'm so sorry. I'll tell her to back off." "She already came. We talked." Silence. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine. I told her she could visit once a week." "You what?" "Elijah deserves to know his grandmother, even if his father is still a stranger." The dig landed. She heard him breathe out slowly. "Thank you for giving her a chance." "I'm not doing it for you." "I know. Still. Thank you." She should hang up. But something made her ask, "Did you really not know she was coming?" "No, my mother and I aren't exactly close. Haven't been since my father died." "Why?" "Because she sees too much. Sees through the armor I wear. Reminds me I'm human." The vulnerability surprised her. "Ethan, why are you really doing all this?" "The doctor, the building repairs, everything?" Long pause. "Because I lie awake every night thinking about you in that rain. About you giving birth alone. About my son's first smile that I missed. And I can't undo any of it. but I can try to make sure nothing like that happens again. That's guilt, not love. Maybe it started as guilt. But now, I just want him safe. Want you safe. Even if I never get to be part of it. Amara's throat tightened. I have to go. She hung up before he could hear her cry. Because the worst part was, she was starting to believe him. March arrived with unexpected warmth. Amara pushed Elijah's stroller through Prospect Park, watching him reach for cherry blossoms drifting on the breeze. He was growing so fast. 5 months old now. Laughing. Trying to roll over. Becoming a person. Linda had kept her promise. Every Tuesday afternoon, she arrived at the apartment. Never late. Never empty-handed. She brought practical things. Diapers. Formula. Books about child development. She never mentioned Ethan unless Amara asked. Today, she'd asked, how is he? Linda had looked up from where she was folding baby clothes. Honestly. Lost. He's at the office 18 hours a day. Doesn't eat properly. Thomas says he found him sleeping at his desk twice last week. That's not my problem. No. But it's the truth. Now, walking through the park, Amara couldn't stop thinking about it. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. There's a package at your building's front desk. For Elijah. Not from Ethan. She frowned. Changed direction, headed home. The package was large, wrapped in plain brown paper. No return address. Inside was a handmade mobile. Wooden animals painted in soft colors, hanging from carefully carved branches. It was beautiful, clearly expensive in terms of time and skill, if not money. There was a note. Sephrai made this. Took me 3 weeks. I don't know if you'll use it, but I wanted him to have something from me that wasn't just money. Amara held one of the wooden elephants. The paint was slightly uneven. The carving showed marks of inexperienced hands, but it was made with care. Real effort. She hung it above Elijah's crib. That night, as she watched the animals spin slowly in the breeze from the window, she made a decision. She texted Ethan. He loves the mobile, thank you. 3 minutes later, her phone rang. You used it. He sounded shocked. Don't make me regret it. I won't. I wasn't sure you'd even open the package. I almost didn't. Silence. Then, how is he? Amara looked at Elijah. Asleep beneath the spinning animals. He's perfect. He rolled over yesterday. From his back to his stomach. She heard Ethan's sharp intake of breath. That's a big milestone. Yes. I wish I'd seen it. The raw pain in his voice cracked something in her chest. Ethan, I need to know something. And I need the truth. Why, Chloe? What did she give you that I didn't? Long silence. She almost thought he'd hung up. Nothing. She gave me nothing. Then why? Because she didn't need anything from me. You looked at me like you expected me to be good, to be kind. It was terrifying. Chloe looked at me like I was already everything I should be. It was easier. So you chose easy over real? Yes. And it's the biggest mistake of my life. Amara sat down, suddenly exhausted. I gave you everything, Ethan. I loved you when you were cold. Stayed when you pushed me away. Believed you'd change. And you destroyed me for it. I know. Do you? Do you really understand what it felt like to stand in that rain, carrying your child, knowing you hated me? I didn't hate you. You didn't love me either. The truth hung between them. You're right, Ethan said finally. I didn't. Not the way you deserved. I loved the idea of you. The perfect wife who made me look human. But I never learned who you really were. And now I want to. If you'll let me. Amara looked at Elijah again. I don't know if I can trust you. I know. But I'm asking for the chance to prove you can. How? However you need me to. She thought about it. About Linda's weekly visits. About the mobile spinning above her son's crib. About the doctor who'd saved Elijah from getting worse. There's a mother. Baby class at the community center. Tuesdays and Thursdays. 10 a.m. You can come. Not as his father. Just as someone who wants to learn about babies. You sit in the back. You don't approach us. You don't tell anyone who you are. You just watch and learn. You'd let me see him. From across a room. That's all. Take it or leave it. I'll take it. Thank you. God, Amara, thank you. She hung up before she could change her mind. Mrs. Chen found her on the floor, crying. What happened? I think I just made a terrible mistake. Or a brave choice. What's the difference? The old woman smiled. Time will tell. Thursday morning. Amara arrived at the community center with Elijah. She scanned the room nervously. Ethan sat in the back corner, wearing jeans and a plain sweatshirt. She'd never seen him in anything but suits. He looked younger, more human. Their eyes met. He didn't smile, didn't wave, just nodded once. The class was about tummy time and motor development. Amara spread Elijah on a mat with the other babies. He kicked his legs, delighted by the other children. She could feel Ethan's eyes on them. Not creepy, just watching, learning. When the class ended, she packed up quickly. But Ethan was waiting outside. Don't, she warned. I just wanted to say thank you. For letting me see him. You were supposed to leave separately. I know. I'm sorry, He's so beautiful, Amara. You've done such an amazing job with him. Despite herself, she felt warm. He's a good baby. He's perfect. He has your smile. She did smile then, just a little. And your stubborn streak. Ethan laughed. The sound was rusty, like he hadn't done it in months. Can I come to the next class? If you follow the rules. Back of the room. No approaching. I promise. He became a regular fixture. Every Tuesday and Thursday. Always in the back. Always watching with hungry eyes. The other mothers noticed. Who's the guy in the corner? One asked during week 3. Just someone learning about babies. He watches you like you're the only person in the room. Amara glanced back. Ethan was focused on Elijah, who was attempting to grab a rattle. His face held wonder. He's making up for lost time. After week 4, Ethan was waiting outside again. You're breaking the rules. I know. But I have something to ask. The class is doing a field trip to the Children's Museum next week. Can I come? Why? Because I want to see him experience new things. I want to be there. Even if I'm just in the background. Amara studied him. He'd lost weight. There were circles under his eyes. But something else had changed too. The cold arrogance was gone. He looked softer. You can come. But Ethan, you're still a stranger to him. Don't expect more than this. I know. This is more than I deserve already. The museum trip was chaos. 10 mothers, 12 babies, too much noise and color. Elijah loved it. He stared at the fish tank like it held the secrets of the universe. Amara was trying to juggle him and the diaper bag when suddenly Ethan was there. Let me help. She should say no, but her shoulder hurt from the bag's weight. He took it carefully, maintaining distance. They walked through the museum like that. Not together, but not completely separate either. At the butterfly exhibit, Elijah started crying. Tired, overwhelmed. Amara tried to soothe him, but he was working himself into a full meltdown. "May I?" Ethan asked quietly. Her first instinct was to refuse. But she was exhausted, and Elijah was getting worse. She handed him over. Ethan held his son for the first time. The baby quieted immediately, startled by the new person. He stared up at Ethan with wide eyes. "Ethan," and whispered. His voice shook. Elijah grabbed Ethan's finger, held on tight. Amara watched Ethan's face transform. All his walls crumbled. Tears streamed down his cheeks. "Is real," Ethan breathed. "I knew he was real, but holding him, he's strong, healthy, despite everything. Because of you. Because you're an incredible mother." Elijah yawned, settling against Ethan's chest. "He trusts you," Amara said, surprised. "He shouldn't. He doesn't know what I did. He only knows what you're doing now, being here. Trying." They stood there, a strange triangle. Not quite a family, but not strangers anymore either. Later, after Elijah was back in his stroller and asleep, they sat on a bench outside. "Thank you," Ethan said, "for letting me hold him. Don't make me regret it." "I won't." "Amara, I know I don't have the right to ask, but can I do this more? The classes, the visits. Can I be part of his life? Even just the edges." She wanted to say no, to protect herself from the hope building in her chest. But she'd seen his face when he held Elijah. That wasn't performance. That was love. "You can come to the classes, and maybe Sunday mornings. At the park, we walk there every week. I'll be there. But Ethan, this doesn't mean we're okay. You and me. You hurt me in ways that don't just heal." "I know. I'm not asking for us. I'm asking for him." She nodded. "Then for him, you can try." Sunday, Ethan met them at Prospect Park. He brought coffee for Amara and a new board book for Elijah. They walked together. Not touching, but together. "Tell me about him," Ethan said. "Everything I missed." So she did. The birth. The first night home. The first smile. The way Elijah hated baths but loved ceiling fans. Ethan listened like every word was precious. "What's his favorite song?" "Summertime. The Ella Fitzgerald version. My grandmother used to sing it." "Sing it for me." "What?" "I want to know what he hears every day." Amara felt vulnerable, but she sang softly. The old lullaby her grandmother had sung to her. Ethan closed his eyes, listening. When she finished, he was crying again. "I'm sorry. I just keep thinking about all the nights you sang that alone. All the times you needed someone, and I'd made sure you had no one. Stop apologizing. Just be better." "I'm trying." "I know. I see it." That admission cost her. But it was true. She did see it. The effort. The change. They sat on a bench, Elijah between them in his stroller. A family that wasn't quite a family. "Amara, I need to tell you something." Her guard went up. "What?" "My company is launching a new foundation for single mothers. Housing assistance, childcare, job training. I want you to help me run it." "What?" "You know what it's like. You've lived it. Your voice matters, and I want to do something good with all this money I've hoarded. This is another way to control things." "No. It's a way to help people like you. People I failed." She studied him. "I'll think about it." "That's all I ask." As spring deepened, they fell into a rhythm. Classes twice a week, park walks on Sundays. Slowly, carefully, building something new. But Amara's heart remained guarded, because the worst betrayal leaves scars that don't fade, and she wasn't sure she'd ever trust him enough to let those walls come down. April brought rain again. Amara stood at her window, watching water streak the glass. The memory of that other rainy night still lived in her bones. Elijah was 6 months old now, sitting up on his own, babbling constantly, reaching for Ethan whenever he saw him. That was the problem. Her son was bonding with his father, and she didn't know how to feel about it. The doorbell rang. She checked the peephole, surprised. It was Ethan, unscheduled. She opened door, ready to be angry. But he looked wrecked. "What's wrong?" "Can I come in?" She hesitated, then stepped aside. Ethan stood in her small living room, dripping rainwater onto her second-hand rug. He held an envelope. "I need to show you something. And after you see it, you'll probably never want to see me again." Her stomach dropped. "What is it?" He handed her the envelope. Inside were medical documents. DNA test results. "You tested him. You had no right." "No, not him. Me. These are genetic screening results. My doctor insisted on them for insurance purposes." "I don't understand." Ethan sat down heavily on her couch. "There's a genetic condition in my family. Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. It killed my father at 52. There's a 50% chance I have it. And if I do, there's a 50% chance Elijah inherited it." The world tilted. What does that mean? It means his heart could be fine, or it could fail without warning. Usually in teenage years or early adulthood. Amara's legs gave out. She sat on the floor. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because I found out 2 weeks ago. I've been trying to figure out if I should say anything. But you deserve to know. He needs to be monitored, tested. And I'm the reason he might be at risk." She looked at the papers again. The medical jargon blurred. "Does he need to be tested now?" "The doctors say we should wait until he's older. 2 or 3. But we need to watch for signs. Fatigue, trouble breathing, fainting. Like his cold in February. That was different. But yes, we need to be careful." Amara felt rage building. "So you've given him more than just your eyes. You've maybe given him a death sentence." "I know. Do you? Do you understand that I carried him, gave birth to him, kept him alive for 6 months, and now you're telling me he might die young because of you?" Ethan's face crumpled. "I would give anything to take it back, to change my DNA, to protect him from this. But you can't." "None?" She stood, needing distance. "Get out! Amara! Get out! You come here, drop this bomb, and think what? That I'll comfort you. Tell you it's okay. I came because you deserve to know. I'll arrange the best cardiologists, pay for everything. Make sure he gets the best care. I don't want your money. I want my son to be healthy. I want him to grow up and not have to worry about his heart stopping." She was screaming now. Elijah started crying in his crib. Ethan stood. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. Sorry doesn't change his DNA." He walked to the door, shoulders slumped in defeat. "I'll email you the doctor's information. There's a specialist at Columbia who's the best in the country. I've already made an appointment for next month. You don't have to see me. I'll pay through Thomas. Just please, make sure he's monitored." After he left, Amara picked up Elijah and sobbed into his soft hair. Mrs. Chen found them an hour later. happened? Amara explained through tears. The old woman held them both. This is not punishment. This is just life. 50% chance means 50% chance he's fine. And if he's not, then we deal with it. But you don't destroy yourself over maybes. That night, Amara couldn't sleep. She watched Elijah breathe, terrified each breath might be harder than the last. She researched the condition obsessively. Some people lived full lives with it. Others died suddenly, without warning. Her phone buzzed at 2 a.m. Ethan. I can't sleep. I keep thinking about him. About this being my fault. She should ignore it. But her fingers moved anyway. It's not your fault. You didn't choose your genetics. VI chose to have a child without thinking about consequences. We both did. Long pause. How is he? Sleeping. Breathing fine. Being perfect and breakable, like his mother. She stared at those words. I'm not breakable anymore. You made sure of that? No. You made sure of that. You survived me. That's incredible strength. She didn't know how to respond. Amara, regardless of what happens with us, I need you to know something. What? You're the best mother he could have. If he does have this condition, he'll need someone strong to help him through it. And that's you. Tears blurred her vision. Stop being nice to me. I'm trying to stay angry. You have every right to be angry. At me. At genetics. At the universe. I'm mostly just scared. Me too. The admission surprised her. Ethan never admitted weakness. We'll get through this. Whatever the tests show. If you'll let me, I want to be there. For every doctor's appointment, every test, every moment. Not because it's my right, but because he shouldn't face this alone. And neither should you. She closed her eyes. Okay. Okay. You can come to the specialist appointment. But Ethan, if you fall apart in there, I can't handle it. I need you to be strong. I will be. I promise. The next morning, Linda called. I heard about the test results. How? Ethan told me. He's devastated. I wanted to check on you. Amara sank into a chair. I don't know how to do this. How to stay calm when inside I'm screaming. The same way you've done everything else. One moment at a time. What if he has it? What if I lose him? Then you'll have loved him completely for whatever time you have. But don't bury him before he's even been tested. The wisdom cut through Amara's panic. Did you know about the family condition? Linda was quiet. Yes. It's why I only had one child. I was terrified of passing it on. My husband had it but didn't know until late. He refused to be tested, refused to admit weakness. It killed him. And Ethan has refused testing until now. Too much like his father. So he didn't know when we... No. He found out because his new doctor insisted. He could have hidden it from you. But he didn't. That meant something. The weeks until the appointment crawled by. Ethan showed up to every class, every park walk. But something had shifted between them. They were united now. Not by love, but by fear for their son. The night before the appointment, Amara couldn't sleep again. Her phone rang. I know it's late, Ethan said. I just needed to hear your voice. I'm terrified. Me too. What if they tell us he has it? Then we make sure he has the best life possible. Every treatment, every specialist, everything he needs. What if that's not enough? Then we love him anyway. Completely. The way I should have loved you. The confession hung between them. Ethan. I know this isn't the time. But I need you to know. Watching you with him these past months, seeing your strength, your love, your grace. I understand now what I threw away. Don't. I loved you, Amara. I just didn't know how to. My father taught me that love was weakness, that caring too much gave people power over you. So I kept you at arm's length, and I lost everything that mattered. She wiped her eyes. You can't just say that now, when we're both broken and scared. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm just telling the truth. You deserve to be loved completely, and I failed you. Yes, you did. If I could go back. But you can't. None of us can. Silence. Tomorrow, when we go to that appointment, we go as Elijah's parents. Nothing more. I understand. Good. But after she hung up, she sat in the darkness, heart pounding. Because somewhere in the past months, something had shifted. She didn't trust Ethan. Not completely. But she didn't hate him anymore either. And that was terrifying in its own way. The morning of the appointment, Ethan picked them up in a regular car. No driver, no luxury. You drove yourself. Didn't feel right showing up in a limo to find out if our son might die young. Our son, he'd said, it so naturally. The specialist's office was calm, professional. Dr. Patel was a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and steady hands. She examined Elijah thoroughly while Amara and Ethan stood on either side of the exam table. Their hands almost touched twice. He looks healthy, Dr. Patel said finally. Strong heartbeat, good color, normal development. But, Amara prompted. But we won't know for certain without genetic testing. Given the family history, I recommend we test within the next year. The earlier we know, the better we can plan treatment if needed. And if he has it, Ethan asked. There are medications, lifestyle modifications. Many people with HCM live long, full lives. But I won't lie to you, it's serious. It requires monitoring. Amara felt dizzy. Ethan's hand found hers. She should pull away. But she needed the anchor. We'll do whatever he needs, Ethan said firmly. Dr. Patel smiled. That's clear. He's lucky to have parents who care so much. Parents. Plural. They scheduled the genetic testing for Elijah's first birthday. Gave themselves time to process, to prepare. In the parking lot, Amara finally let herself break down. Ethan pulled her into his arms without asking. She should push him away. But she was so tired of being strong alone. It's going to be okay. Ethan whispered into her hair. Whatever happens, we'll make sure of it. You can't promise that. None. But I can promise I'll be there. Every step, every treatment, every scary moment. She pulled back, looking up at him. Why now? Where was this man when I needed him? He was hiding. From himself, from real feeling, from everything that mattered. But I'm not hiding anymore. I don't know if I can believe you. Then let me show you. For however long it takes. Elijah babbled from his car seat, oblivious to the adult pain around him. Amara wiped her eyes. Take us home. On the drive, Ethan's phone rang. He glanced at it and his face went hard. What? Chloe. She's been trying to reach me for weeks. What does she want? I know. I've ignored every call. Maybe you should find out. He looked at her, surprised. You want me to talk to her? I want you to close that chapter completely, so she can't come back and destroy things again. Ethan nodded slowly. Put the phone on speaker. What do you want? Chloe. The voice that came through was syrupy sweet. Ethan, darling, I've missed you. I think we should talk. I made mistakes, but we were good together. You know we were. Amara watched Ethan's face, waited to see if any part of him still wanted that woman. No, Chloe. We were convenient together. You used me. I allowed it because it was easier than being real. That's not fair. You planted evidence. Destroyed my marriage. Kept me from knowing my son. There's nothing left to say. I did it because I loved you? No, you loved my money, my name, my power. But you never knew me. Amara's breath caught. She'd never heard him this clear, this certain. Ethan, please, don't contact me again. If you do, I'll get a restraining order. He hung up. Silence filled the car. Thank you, Amara said quietly.
For what?
For ending it clearly. For not leaving it open. That part of my life is over. There's only one woman I care about. Even if she'll never feel the same way again. Their eyes met in the rearview mirror. Amara's heart thundered. Because she was starting to feel things she shouldn't. Things that terrified her. She was starting to forgive him. And she didn't know if that made her strong or foolish. September arrived with golden light. Elijah's first birthday was in 5 days. The genetic test results were scheduled to arrive tomorrow. Amara sat in her apartment, now larger thanks to a move she'd finally accepted help with. Not from Ethan's money directly, but from the foundation they'd built together over the past months. The foundation had become her purpose, helping single mothers find housing, childcare, hope. Women who'd been where she was, alone and terrified. Ethan worked beside her every week, not as the boss, as a partner. Somewhere in those long hours planning programs and reviewing applications, something had shifted. The walls around her heart had developed cracks. Her phone rang. Dr. Patel. Ms. Chen, the results came back early. Can you come in today? Amara's world stopped. Is it bad? Just tell me. I'd prefer to discuss this in person. Can you be here at 3? Yes, thank you. Her hands shook as she texted Ethan. Results are in. Appointment at 3. Can you come? The response was immediate. I'm on my way. He arrived 30 minutes later. They hadn't planned to go together, but he'd left a board meeting mid-presentation. You didn't have to? Yes, I did. They drove in silence. Elijah babbled happily in his car seat, trying to eat his shoe. In the waiting room, Ethan's leg bounced nervously. Without thinking, Amara put her hand on his knee. Whatever it is, we'll handle it. He covered her hand with his. When did you become the strong one? I always was. You just never noticed. I notice everything now. Dr. Patel called them in. They sat side by side, hands still clasped. The doctor opened the file. Her face was neutral. Elijah's genetic test came back. Amara couldn't breathe. He does not have the HCMG mutation. The room spun. Amara heard herself sob. He's okay. He's perfectly healthy. No elevated risk beyond the general population. Ethan made a sound between a laugh and a cry. He pulled Amara into his arms. She let him. He's okay? Ethan kept repeating. He's okay. Dr. Patel smiled. He'll still need regular checkups like any child. But you can breathe easy. He's a healthy, happy boy. They walked out in a daze. In the parking lot, Ethan spun Elijah around, making him shriek with laughter. You're perfect! You're absolutely perfect! Amara watched them together. Father and son, Ethan had changed so much. The cold, arrogant man from Christmas was gone. This version was softer, more real, more like someone she could love. The thought terrified her. Amara. Ethan set Elijah back in the stroller. I know this isn't the right time. There's never a right time. But I need to say something. Do please. Just listen. She crossed her arms, defensive. These past months with you have been the happiest of my life. Not because of Elijah, though he's everything, but because I've gotten to know you. Really know you. Your strength, your kindness, your sharp sense of humor that you hide. Ethan, I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm not asking you to love me. I'm just asking if maybe someday you might consider letting me try. Really try. To be the man you deserved from the beginning. Amara's eyes filled with tears. You hurt me so badly. I know. I stood in that rain thinking my life was over. I know. And now you want me to just forget that? No. I want you to see that I've changed, that I'm not that man anymore. People don't change Ethan. I did. You changed me. Elijah changed me. Losing you changed me. She shook her head, but the tears kept falling. I'm scared. Of what? That you'll hurt me again. That this is temporary. That one day you'll wake up and remember. You're a billionaire who could have anyone. And I'm just the girl you threw away. Ethan dropped to his knees, right there in the parking lot. You're not just anything. You're the woman who survived me. Who built a life from nothing. Who raised the most incredible child I've ever known. You're the strongest person I've ever met. Get up. People are staring. I don't care. Amara, I love you. I think I always did. I just didn't know what love was. I thought it was control, possession. But it's not. It's this. Wanting you to be happy, even if it's not with me. Wanting Elijah to have the best mother, which he does. Wanting to spend every day earning the right to be part of your lives. She looked down at him. This powerful man, kneeling in a parking lot, completely vulnerable. Don't know if I can love you back. Not the way I did before. I don't want you to love me the way you did before. That girl loved someone who didn't exist. I want you to love the real me. Flawed, trying, desperate to be better. Stand up. He stood. I need time. Real time, not a few months, maybe years, to trust that this is real. I'll wait. And I need you to be honest. Always. No more secrets. Done. And you have to let me be independent. I'm not going back to being your quiet, obedient wife. I don't want you to. I want my equal. My partner? She studied his face, looking for lies. Found only raw hope. Okay, we can try, slowly. Dating, I guess. Getting to know each other as real people. Ethan's smile could have lit the city. Can I take you to dinner? You and Elijah. Not some fancy restaurant. Somewhere normal. The diner by your old apartment. She was surprised he knew it. I used to drive by there, hoping to see you through the window. That's creepy. I know. I'm working on being less creepy. She laughed. Actually laughed. Okay. Dinner tomorrow night. That night, Linda called. I heard about the test results. I'm so relieved. Me too. And I heard Ethan finally told you how he feels. Does everyone know everything? Linda laughed. Called me from his car, crying happy tears. Said you're giving him a chance. A small one. That's all he deserves. But Amara, I want you to know something. I see the way he looks at you now. It's how I wished my husband had looked at me. Like you're the sun, and he's been living in darkness. That's dramatic, but true. Give him a real chance, not for his sake, for yours. You deserve to be loved the way you love. After they hung up, Amara looked at Elijah, playing with his blocks. What do you think, baby? Should we give your daddy a real chance? Elijah clapped and laughed, as if he understood. The next night, Ethan arrived exactly on time. He wore jeans and a simple shirt, no designer labels. At the diner, they sat in a worn booth. Elijah in a high chair between them, making a mess of mashed potatoes. This is nice, Ethan said. It's a greasy diner. It's real. I spent so many years in places that weren't real. Perfect restaurants with perfect people having perfectly empty conversations. And now I just want this. You. Him, bad coffee and good company. The waitress, an older woman named Betty, came by. This your family? She asked Amara. Amara hesitated. Ethan answered. We're working on it. Betty winked. He's a keeper if he shows up for the messy stuff. After she left, Amara smiled. The messy stuff. I want all of it, the 3 a.m. feedings, the tantrums, the boring afternoons. Everything I missed. You can't get that time back. I know. But I can be here for what's coming. Over terrible coffee and surprisingly good pie, they talked. Really talked. About their childhoods, their fears, their dreams. I never wanted to be like my father, Ethan admitted. But I became him anyway. Cold, controlling, emotionally unavailable. What changed? I held my son for the first time, and I realized I had a choice. Be the father I had or be the father he deserves. And which are you choosing? The second one. Every day. Even when it's hard. Amara reached across the table. Took his hand. I see you trying. I want you to know that. His eyes glistened. That means everything. They walked home through the September evening. Elijah asleep in his stroller. At her building, Ethan didn't try to come up. Thank you for tonight. It was just dinner. It was hope. He leaned down slowly, giving her time to pull away. When she didn't, he kissed her forehead, respectful. Good night, Amara. Good night, Ethan. She watched him walk away. For the first time in almost a year, she felt something like peace. The next few weeks fell into a pattern. Dinner twice a week. Park walks on Sundays. Ethan helping with bath time, learning how to change diapers properly, reading bedtime stories in his deep voice that made Elijah laugh. Slowly, carefully, they built something new. On Elijah's first birthday, they threw a small party. Mrs. Chen, Linda, Thomas, a few mothers from the class. Ethan gave Elijah a rocking horse he'd carved himself. It was beautiful, slightly imperfect, made with love. You made this. Watched YouTube videos for weeks. Almost lost a finger twice. Amara traced the smooth wood. It's perfect. Like him. They sang Happy Birthday. Elijah smashed cake into his hair. Everyone laughed. Linda pulled Amara aside. You've given my son something I never could. A reason to be human. He's doing the work himself. Because you're worth the work. As the party wound down, Amara found Ethan on the balcony. You okay? Just thinking about last year, where we all were. Lot has changed. Are you happy? He asked. Really happy? She thought about it. I'm getting there. Can I be part of that? The getting there. She looked back inside where Elijah was laughing with his grandmother. You already are? Ethan turned to her, hopeful. Amara, I know we're taking this slow, but I need you to know my endgame. Witches. This family. You, me, Elijah. Maybe more kids someday if you want. Growing old together. Being real together. That's a lot to promise. I'm not promising. I'm hoping. There's a difference. She stepped closer. I'm hoping too. That you stay this version of yourself. That you don't wake up one day and regret choosing the hard path. Being with you isn't hard. It's the easiest thing I've ever done. Liar. I'm stubborn and difficult, and brilliant and beautiful, and the love of my life. She inhaled sharply. You can't just say things like that. Why not? They're true. Because I'm starting to believe you. Could... He pulled her close. Not demanding, just offering. She let herself lean into him. I'm still angry sometimes, she whispered. You should be. And I still have nightmares about that night. I'm sorry. I'll spend the rest of my life being sorry. I don't need sorry anymore. I need you to keep being this person. I will. I promise. She pulled back to look at him. Then ask me. Ask you what? What you've been wanting to ask for weeks. Ethan's breath caught. Amara Chen, will you let me take you on a real date? Just the two of us? Yes. And will you maybe, possibly, consider eventually forgiving me enough to build a real future together? She smiled through tears. Ask me again in a year. I will. Every day until you say yes. Inside, Elijah called for her. Ma. But for the first time, he also said something new. Data. They both froze. Rushed inside. Elijah stood in his playpen, holding onto the rails, looking at Ethan. Data, he said again. Clear as day. Ethan's knees buckled. He dropped down beside the playpen. Yes, I'm Dada. I'm your Dada. Elijah clapped, proud of himself. Ethan looked up at Amara, tears streaming. He called me Dada. I know. I don't deserve this. No. But you're earning it. That night, after everyone left, Amara stood over Elijah's crib. The mobile Ethan had made spun slowly above. Your daddy loves you, she whispered. And I think I might be falling in love with him again. The real him this time. Elijah slept peacefully, unaware of the miracle happening around him. Behind her, Ethan's voice was soft. I brought him a bottle for his nighttime feeding. If that's okay, she turned. He stood in the doorway, uncertain. It's okay. Come in. He sat in the rocking chair. Amara handed him their son. Slowly. Support his head. Like this. Perfect. She watched them together. Ethan's large hands cradling their baby. Elijah's complete trust. The picture of what they could have been all along. Amara? Yeah. Thank you. For giving me this chance. I know I didn't earn it. You're earning it now. Every day. He looked up at her. I love you. Both of you. More than I knew I could love anything. She knelt beside the chair. Put her hand over his. I know, and someday soon, I'll be able to say it back. I'll wait. You keep saying that. Because it's true. I'll wait forever if that's what it takes. Elijah finished his bottle drowsy. Ethan burped him expertly. Another skill learned through patient practice. Together, they put him in his crib. Stood side by side, watching him sleep. He's going to have a good life, Ethan said. I'll make sure of it. We'll make sure of it. He looked at her, surprised. Where are his parents? Both of us. Took you long enough to earn it. But you're here now. Ethan pulled her into his arms. This time, she wrapped hers around him too. "I won't let you down again." "I know. Because if you do, I won't give you a third chance." "Fair." They stood there, holding each other, watching their sun breathe. Outside, New York glittered with possibility. Inside, a family that had been shattered was slowly, carefully, putting itself back together. Not the same as before. Better. Built on truth instead of pretense. On partnership instead of control. On love that had been tested and survived. Amara pulled back slightly. "Ethan." "Yeah, stay. Tonight. Sleep on the couch, in case Elijah wakes up and wants his data." His eyes widened. "You mean it? Don't make me regret it." "Won't? I promise." That night, for the first time in over a year, Amara slept peacefully, knowing that if Elijah cried, she wouldn't be alone. That someone else loved their son as fiercely as she did. And when Elijah did wake at 2 a.m., it was Ethan who got up, who warmed the bottle, who sang softly in the darkness. Amara listened from her room, smiling. They had a long way to go. Years of rebuilding trust, of learning to be partners instead of strangers. But they had time. They had their son. They had hope. And sometimes, that was enough to build a future on. In the morning, Amara woke to voices in the kitchen. She found Ethan making breakfast, Elijah in his high chair, both of them covered in flour. "One made pancakes," Ethan said sheepishly. "Well, we tried." The kitchen was a disaster. The pancakes were burnt. Elijah had batter in his hair. It was perfect. "Next time," Amara said, grabbing a towel. "Maybe wait for me before attempting cooking." "Next time," Ethan repeated, his smile brilliant. "I like the sound of that." She kissed Elijah's sticky cheek. Then, before she could overthink it, she kissed Ethan's too. "Don't get used to it." Too late. They cleaned up together, chaotic and laughing. A family learning each other, building something new from the broken pieces of what had been. And outside, the September sun rose over a city full of second chances, lighting the way forward for three people who'd found their way back to each other. Not through perfection, but through pain transformed into growth. Not through forgetting, but through forgiveness earned moment by moment. Not through going back, but through building something better going forward. Together. Finally, truly, together.